This is our story about going to Six Nations with Canadian roots.
The Six Nations Exchange in June 2014 was an opportunity for Canadian Roots Exchange to work with Access Alliance. We brought together a group of Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth between the ages of 14 and 18 and created a space for powerful dialogue to occur. It ended up being an all-women's exchange, which was a unique experience, and it gave the space to all the girls to get to know each other and to break down stereotypes between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities.
So connecting with CRE happened by accident for me because I wasn't supposed to go on this exchange. The original exchange was supposed to be in March, and it sort of didn't come together. But we really wanted to make it happen because a lot of the kids had questions about what it means to be Canadian and what is Canadian, and it's they all come from backgrounds that are very homogenous in a very large sense. So coming here and seeing all these little cultures, like conversation of what it means to belong here, ultimately will always lead to what does it mean to be here. And that will lead to discussions about First Nations people and Aboriginal culture, of which, after some probing, I found out I knew very little. And so partnering with CRE was a good way to sort of weed out those conversations and get the girls to ask those questions and see the answers, not through a textbook or through a presentation, but just be there and see it as people, not something out of their history books.
So here? Hold on.
You can go down here and come back.
Do you mind?
Oh, my parents think
my
that
hands are bent. I don't know why.
That's April. She's just ruining all the food. Now she's gonna tell us how was our ride up here.
She's like eating. Like, wait,
Don't talk with your mouth full.
I'm
Don't
swallowing it. We got lost on our way out of Toronto, surprisingly, but after we hit the greenbelt, everyone seemed to be on the same non-stressed out mode. So we're really happy to have gotten here on time and got to see Gail Whitlow early, actually, and now we're here. We just had lunch. I'm eating some more. I'm hungry.
So we made it to Bears Inn.
We got a little lost on the way, but we're here now. We had a really good lunch, and
So beautiful outside.
we learned some stuff about traditional medicines and traditional ways of healing and things like that from an elder in the community, which was really interesting.
It was awesome. We're so happy to be here.
On the second day of the exchange, we visited Steve Smith's pottery studio called Talking Earth Pottery. We got to look at all of his amazing artwork and listen to him talk about how he uses storytelling in his artwork and different parts of nature. He did a demonstration for us and spoke some about and talked to us about creativity and following your passion.
I've done over the years, and so I take pictures now because sometimes you see a design that you want to do over.
Yeah.
And so when I see a picture, I can work off of that if I'm not creative. And like I was telling you, it gets frustrating because I have books of drawings, and I'm just not getting to them because everybody wants the same thing. They want this like they got, you know. So and I just have to make time and get those kind of pieces done. So these two big things are kilns.
After we visited Steve Smith, we met up with local Six Nations youth who were also alumni from a previous CRE exchange to go to the Chiefswood National Historic Site, which is also the house of a famous Mohawk poet named Pauline E. Johnson. We got to explore the house and got to know the kinds of works that she's done during her time, and that she's traveled all around Canada. And an interesting fact is she had been the only woman, other than the Queen, to get her own postage stamp.
One of the highlights of the exchange for all of the girls was visiting Iracraft's store. What everyone thought was first just going to be a little shopping visit and an opportunity to look at Indigenous art, jewelry, and other crafts actually turned into one of the best situations for discussions to happen. One of the girls, Fordoza, found a map showing the difference in land from traditional Six Nations territory to what it is now, and it started a great conversation about land claim issues and what has been taken away from First Nations communities nationwide.
Another moment that sort of stands out is I think it was a sharing circle that we had on either the last day or the second last day. And one of the things that had come up was a conversation on stereotypes, and of course we all have our different baggages of what we're perceived to be, and one of the girls who's Muslim and wears a hijab was just like, yeah, the stereotypes about hijabis. Like, we don't have any hair, and we can't take it off, and we sleep in it, and I don't know what. And on some level, there's legitimate questions that other girls got to ask. Well, okay, so what's really happening, and what is all of this? And on the other side was some of the Native girls just like, yeah, like Native people don't exist, and we only are in history books, and these maybe. And the important thing in those moments was like, they got to air out their frustrations, but not only that, they got to see how other people are frustrated in the same way, and how like the way that they're misunderstood is maybe the same way they're misunderstanding another person, right? Because you get that sort of flip back at you, and that was watching them sort of talk that one through was one of the better moments and best learning moments, right? Because that's the big thing, stereotypes and misconceptions. Once you sort of break those down, you can only go up.
Toronto. Yeah, like, I'm from a lot of places, but nowhere is home like Toronto. I don't feel really at home anywhere else. And I like about Toronto that, like, I feel like I know it. Like, I feel like every street is my street, and I know it like the back of my hand, and like, I just feel comfortable. Like,
The last day of our exchange, we went to the Woodlands Cultural Center, and we also visited the Mohawk Residential School. The Cultural Center tour taught us a lot about the beauty and the resilience of Haudenosaunee culture. We learned about the two-row wampum belts and how they were peace treaties before. And we also learned about the harm that stereotypes cause. And we also got a brief introduction leading up to our residential school visit.
The residential school visit was tough for a lot of us, but we all were there for each other. It was shocking hearing that children were being taken away from their families and often put through different kinds of abuse. And did you know the last residential school didn't close until 1996? This history isn't something that most of us were taught in school, but I think it's something we all should know about and learn from.
On the third day of our exchange, we visited the Munsee Delaware First Nation to go to the powwow that's happening there. It was the first time I went to a powwow, and most of the participants as well. And we learned all about traditional dancing, the traditional regalia that they wear, and we also went around to see what other activities there were at the powwow, like looking at what the vendors were selling, and also doing a bit of archery. It was a lot of fun.
You can see my arrows in the styrofoam.
Yeah.
Oh, my part?
Yeah, sorry.
This part?
They're all the same.
Oh, they're all high?
Yeah, yeah, they're all right in the center of the ball.
If you hit the white part on the deer, the white square on the deer. No, the white part on the deer. No. Let's go, Pardoza.
Wait, is that comfortable the way you're holding it? Okay, hold on, let me grab you a left hand ball. We'll try the other side. Hold it like this.
There you go.
I was wondering, I was like,
Okay.
They're gonna, if they do that, they're gonna push down.
Did you get him?
Yeah.
You got the deer. That's me. She got the deer.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey!
had their own, like we'd have our big conversations together at the end of the night, but then they'd go away and they'd do their own thing. They'd compare all these notes and all these little conversations that you hear tidbits about in the morning during breakfast. And it's like, that's what's important. I think that's a big part of it. And where they find their own commonalities, right? Because they're the ones who forge the next step in terms of like national identity. This is where it should be happening.